With the Deputy MASLOC CEO, Hajia Abibata Muhammad Zakaria, who's this afternoon saying she's ready to appear before Shraj to fight off claims she engaged in vote buying in the just-ended MPP primaries. Investigative agency Corruption Watch says it had uncovered Mrs. Zakaria engaged in doling out state funds to delegates to earn their votes. She's been speaking to JoyNews' Joseph Akable, insisting she did no wrong.
And Yendi is not different from any of the constituencies. They are Ghanaians just like other people in the other constituencies. And Yendi has gotten 35 groups. So if you are talking about 117 groups in Tamale Central being the highest and Yendi having benefited 35 groups, I don't really see any problem with that.
And if you watch the video, I mean, for those who, the video even went viral before the story itself came out, and you see people moving money onto a table, and one will ask, is that the best way MASLOC can be distributing such loans? I mean, it clearly doesn't look good, money being put on the table and sharing to people.
That has always been our practice. And again, that wasn't the first time that MASLOC had distributed money to people at such in such a manner. It was recently that we launched our digital platform. So as at the time I went to Yendi, we're mopping up. I don't think in the future MASLOC would do a thing like that, but that has always been our practice. Every constituency that we have done disbursement, this is the way we do it. And I will take the opportunity to explain the process to you. Like I said, 25 people are in a group. So when they apply as a group, we have 3 leaders for the group. We have the chairman, the secretary, and the treasurer. So those are the people that more or less they are the intermediaries for the group. So whatever processes that is done, every member of the group's name is captured. The details are captured. So on the day of the disbursement, what happens is that the 3 groups per each group, they will go to the bank with MASLOC officials and they would withdraw the money to the function. Everybody is present. They go through the list, mention the name, the person is verified with the ID card and the necessary details before the money is given out. That is to ensure transparency. So when such things are being done, I'm talking about 750 beneficiaries. Definitely the money will be huge. They cannot carry the money on foot. The money has to be in a car. And the allegation was that I put the money in my car. That car, I don't even know. As I speak to you, I don't know whose car it was. What I know was that the money was brought to the venue, and that is the practice. And looking at the number, definitely the money will be huge. So for me, I don't think that MASLOC, we went against our normal procedure. And I am the kind of person that I will never bend any rules. You can testify from my colleague and then my boss, the management and the board and the staff of MASLOC that I am the kind that will never bend any rules to suit anybody, let alone myself. I am very principled and I adhere to the principles and procedures of MASLOC.
And so the point is also made about the increase in the groups. Sure. What specific role as a leader at MASLOC do you play in relation to the allocation of the funds and the groups and whether or not to increase the group allocations?
Like I said already, usually people apply to MASLOC. And when they apply, they go through due diligence to ensure that whatever is needed, the requirements are met before they even work on them. I am not a party to the approval process, but like I said, what I do as a deputy CEO, I am also a deputy CEO in charge of operations, and basically all the regions are under me. So but we work in such a way that we are 2 deputies. So I am in charge of the northern sector. My other colleague is in charge of the southern sector. That's Madam Alberta Ifia Akutu. So usually what we do is that when there's any disbursement that a deputy CEO has to go, we go with the staff of MASLOC. We have the regional manager and the staff. So even the day of the disbursement, they were all there. But maybe because I was the lead person, they also gave their speeches. Even before any disbursement is done, they explained the processes to the beneficiaries in terms of the interest rate and how they are going to pay back and all of that. Those speeches were said before I even came in. So I didn't have any particular role in the approving processes. And for example, if the issue is that 35 groups were sent to Yendi, assuming without admitting that I even said I influenced 35 groups to Yendi constituency. Yendi constituency, as I mentioned already, is not the constituency that has the highest beneficiaries in the northern region. For example, I mentioned Tamale Central having 117 groups. Tamale South having 69 groups, Tamale North having 56 groups. They are all higher than 35 groups. So for me, those constituencies that benefited from the scheme, they were not going for primaries. They are not my constituencies. So what influence did I have in such constituencies? And why is it that they would say that the 35 groups, I sent it there to influence delegates? In any case, I lost the election narrowly with 34 votes. The MASLOC intervention did not have any impact on my election. What impact could it have had just some few weeks to the primaries? Whatever we did it for the sake of the people, the beneficiaries, and nothing to do with the primaries. Like I said, out of 750 beneficiaries, if less than 100 people are delegates, what impact will it have for me as a person? So my being there wasn't a personal gain, but a gain for the constituency and not myself.
So to be clear, you maintain that you did not engage in vote buying, and have you communicated this to the group that carried out this particular investigation, and what kind of response have you obtained?
To begin with, they didn't carry out any investigation. When I read that they did undercover investigation, I laughed. This was a public gathering with media present. So why would I do something publicly when I know it is wrong? The media people that were there, corruption war didn't bring the media people. MASLOC invited the media, and it was done publicly. Whatever statement I said was public. So what is this issue about undercover investigation? Something that was on Facebook. People took pictures, people took speeches, and it was all over the place, even before the primaries. And then you told me that you do undercover investigation. Is that how undercover investigations are done in Ghana? We are all in Ghana, and we know what Anas Amriel does. This is not undercover investigation. It was public. Anybody at all could have sat in the office and taken the pictures or downloaded the speech that I had. So that impression, again, is a false impression. It wasn't any undercover investigation because it was a public gathering. And how would I even involve in vote buying when there are loans? As I speak to you, the people that were given the loans have started repaying. So how does it tend to be vote buying? When you sell something to someone, do you take it back? That is the impression, because if I buy something from you, I have bought it and it is mine. I don't have to pay back. So if people have taken loans and they are paying back, how is it same as vote buying? I am very, very disappointed with that tag saying vote buying. This was something that was done in May, and our election was in June. How could it be vote buying? And what I know about vote buying, we are all in Ghana. Maybe, for example, a day to the election, some few days to the election, people give money to delegates or give other things to delegates. I did not engage in any of that. So this tag of me involving in vote buying is unfortunate. And it cannot be termed as vote buying, because a loan cannot be termed as vote buying when the people have even started repaying.
And And so far, have you been contacted by any, do you know whether any investigative agency is looking into this matter? And you made a point that you are someone who doesn't bend the rules. I mean, you should be willing to assist any such probe if it indeed takes off.
Yes, I'm willing to avail myself to any investigative body. But again, I also saw some posts on Joy, I don't know whether it was Joy Online, someone sent it to me, that CDD to petition Shraj to look into corruption allegations. That heading is deceptive in the sense that I haven't involved in any corruption. I went there to do my work as an official from MASLOC, and that is the due process. I haven't bent any rules. I am not the kind that will bend rules. Everybody in MASLOC will tell you that I will not bend any rule. So if the heading is to investigate corruption allegations against me, it is very deceptive, and it's unfortunate because I haven't involved in any corruption. The money was given to people publicly, and that is our procedure. I didn't go against any procedure, and the people are repaying. So the point should be made that I haven't involved in any wrongdoing, I haven't involved in any vote buying, and I never admitted to being engaged in vote buying as it was stated.